Four, three, two, one. We have liftoff.
We have liftoff.
You are looking at a live view of Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida. You can see the Dragon spacecraft sitting on top of the Falcon 9 rocket awaiting launch. Welcome and thank you for joining us today. My name is Jessica Jensen. I am the manager of the Dynamic Environments Group here at SpaceX. And we are webcasting to you live, as we always do, at SpaceX's headquarters in Hawthorne, California. This is where we build both the Falcon 9 rocket and the Dragon spacecraft. This is also home to our Dragon's Mission Control Center. So this is going to be the fourth flight of the Falcon 9 rocket and actually our first official Dragon launch to the International Space Station under the NASA Commercial Resupply Services contract. About 5 months ago, many of you tuned in back in May of 2012 when our Dragon spacecraft became the first privately built spacecraft and first commercially built spacecraft to ever visit the International Space Station. It was really exciting. But on this mission, we're going to be carrying even more cargo, including a significant number of science experiments. We're also going to stay at the station for 20 days this time instead of just 9. Additionally, we'll be bringing back a lot more cargo than we did the last time. Now, let me introduce you to my co-host for this mission, John Insprucker. He is the product director for the Falcon 9 launch vehicle. So John, it's a bit of an anniversary for you here at SpaceX. Why don't you tell us about that and what you do here?
Thanks, Jessica. Yes, it is a bit of an anniversary. This past week marked my 6th anniversary at SpaceX. Before that, I served 28 years in the U.S. Air Force, including managing the Titan II and Titan IV rocket programs and as director of the Evolved Expendable Launch Vehicle program. Here at SpaceX as product director, I help plan and integrate the development, production, and test of the Falcon 9 rocket. Today's launch features the 4th of our Falcon 9 vehicles. After a lot of hard work, this is always the most exciting part of the job for the entire team.
True. It's always great to have your experience on board, John. Thank you. So while this is our second Dragon mission to the International Space Station and we are trying to make these deliveries more routine, doesn't mean that the process gets any easier or that we can relax in any way. Isn't that right?
That's right, Jessica. Sending a rocket into orbit is one of the most challenging of all technical endeavors. And as with any space launch, everything has to work just as we planned and designed it. So Jessica, we talked about myself. Why don't you tell the folks watching what you and your team do here at SpaceX?
Sure. So my group is actually responsible for ensuring that both of our vehicles, Falcon 9 and Dragon, and all of their components, that they are tested and analyzed to withstand all the vibration environments that they encounter during a launch or during re-entry. Additionally, we have to ensure that sensitive satellites and sensitive cargo are protected from these vibration environments. And also, as we're moving towards our crew missions, we want to make sure that we don't, shake people up too much on the way up or on the way down. Now, this is just what John and I do. We're just 2 of over 1,800 people here at SpaceX, and all of us are required to make these missions happen. And we're all here working hard to support NASA and to support humans. Currently, the only outpost in space with humans on it at this point in time. So today's webcast is going to last roughly an hour if all goes as planned. John is going to be giving us updates on the launch. We'll check in with things such as weather. Then we're going to provide you an overview with some really cool videos about SpaceX, Falcon 9, and Dragon. Then you're going to get to see the video from liftoff all the way to orbit from an onboard camera, and that's always the highlight. So John, why don't you give us our first update on launch status?
Sure, I know everybody's interested to know how we're doing. Things are looking well. Let's review the status of all 4 major systems involved in tonight's launch. First, we have the Falcon 9 launch vehicle, which you can see here on the pad in Florida. We rolled the Falcon 9 and Dragon out to the pad yesterday evening, leaving the hangar heading to the pad. Once we got there, we hooked it up to the systems on the pad. Early this morning, we loaded in the late cargo into the Dragon capsule and then rotated the entire Falcon 9 and Dragon to vertical. There you can see the vehicle going to vertical early this morning out on the launch pad. Once we got vertical, checked a few things out, we cleared all personnel from the area this afternoon prior to beginning propellant loading. We began propellant loading about 3.5 hours ago, finishing it well under an hour after we started. We're currently topping off the liquid oxygen and the helium and nitrogen pressurization gases that are stored on board the vehicle. But otherwise, the propellant and the pressurization gases are fully loaded. Currently, SpaceX Launch Control Center in Florida reports the vehicle is looking good for flight. The second system to take a look at is our Dragon spacecraft. That's operated from SpaceX's Mission Control Center right here in Hawthorne, California, which you see here. This room is staffed and operated 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, while Dragon is in space. Dragon is currently waiting for terminal countdown, and Mission Control Center reports they're not working any issues. Dragon is ready to go. The third factor is the range. Cape Canaveral Air Force Station has just recently reported range status is good to continue proceeding in the countdown. The Air Force supports us with flight safety, radar, and long-range cameras, and these systems are looking good right now for tonight's launch. Finally, the Air Force also helps predict and monitor the weather, and that's our fourth factor tonight. Last night when we did the weather brief, we had about a 60% chance of good weather. At the last weather report, at about T-minus 1 hour, looks like about an 80% chance of good weather. We're continuing to monitor the possibility of thick clouds or flying through clouds that carry precipitation, which would be a violation of a flight rule. However, currently everything is looking pretty good, and so we're counting down towards liftoff with everything appearing nominal, as we like to say here at SpaceX, right where we want it. So Jessica, that's our status, looking good. Back to you.
Excellent. Okay, so today's flight is the first of a minimum of 12 launches that we have on contract as part of this NASA Commercial Resupply Services or CRS program. NASA created this program to develop new commercial spaceflight capabilities where commercial companies like us can begin transporting cargo to and from the International Space Station safely, reliably, and cost effectively. For today's launch, we're sending a Dragon full of cargo to the International Space Station, which is orbiting some 330 kilometers or 200 miles above the surface of the Earth. To catch up to the space station, we need to launch shortly after the space station actually passes over the launch site. Now that flyby happened about 20 minutes ago at 7:39 p.m. Eastern Time. So if we miss today's liftoff due to weather or any other reason, we can reset and try again tomorrow about 20 minutes earlier than today. Now today's launch will travel northward along the eastern seaboard of the United States. We will reach orbit in the vicinity of Newfoundland, Canada, where Dragon will separate from the Falcon 9 vehicle and deploy its solar panels, as you can see in the photo. Then we will use Dragon will use its thrusters to adjust its orbit, and we plan to arrive in the vicinity of the space station in roughly 3 days.
In the past few days, we've been soliciting questions from our followers on Facebook and Twitter. We'll read a few of those questions to you as we get ready for the countdown. Our first question is from Thalia Noor, who asks, what is the timeline for manned flights in the Dragon capsule, and how are NASA and SpaceX collaborating in this area? Thalia, SpaceX has been working to fly people into space from its beginning. We've recently signed what's called the Commercial Crew Integrated Capability Agreement with NASA to evolve Dragon to support crew. Although the agreement with NASA doesn't include flights with people, SpaceX will be in position to fly humans into space in about 3 years or so. We expect our first flights will be with SpaceX astronauts, selected from among the 1,800 folks that Jessica and I work with here in Hawthorne. After that, we should be ready to transport NASA crews to and from the International Space Station.
I wonder if I can get me one of those people that flies on one of these spacecraft sooner. We'll see. Anyways, we're going to cut to a video clip now where we're going to look at some of the key features of SpaceX and of the Commercial Resupply Services program. So here at our Hawthorne, California headquarters, we build all of our rockets, spacecraft, and engines, as well as the tooling, testing, and ground systems needed to put Dragon into orbit. Today's Dragon flight is carrying cargo and supplies to the International Space Station. This mission is the first of at least 12 commercial resupply flights for NASA on the SpaceX launch manifest. SpaceX provides these services to NASA at a fixed price. We build almost the entire rocket and spacecraft in-house, which allows us greater efficiency and helps us control costs. Our products are made in the USA, and we replace cargo delivery services that NASA had been buying from Russia. But the biggest difference between Dragon and all of the other resupply vehicles is that Dragon returns cargo safely to Earth. All right, well, now let's take another question from one of our Twitter, Facebook followers. This is one of my favorites. This is from Greg Byrick. He asks, how many of you thought of, or will at some point during this mission, sport a mohawk? I'll let John answer that one.
Thanks, Jessica. Yeah, Greg's referring to the Mohawk scene on the landing on Mars. Lots of the folks here at SpaceX watched the Mars Curiosity landing. After all, Mars is where we're headed, as our founder Elon Musk has mentioned. Now, I don't know if anyone here at SpaceX is going out of their way to get a Mohawk, Greg, but we do have several employees who regularly sport them. Now, as for me, as you can tell, I can't pull off a Mohawk. However, as a rocket engineer, I am wearing my lucky shirt today.
Thanks, John. I have my lucky boots on too. It's just tradition. So for our next overview, we're gonna actually have John give us an overview with some cool videos about Falcon 9. Go ahead.
Sure. Not everyone knows that the Falcon 9 takes its name from one of the most famous spaceships ever, Han Solo's Millennium Falcon from Star Wars. Even though it can't make the jump to light speed, the Falcon 9 is big, the size of a 737 transport. The 9 engines refers to the 9 Merlin engines that power the first stage and generate nearly 1 million pounds of thrust in flight. These engines are powered by rocket-grade kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen. The white condensation clouds you see coming from the vehicle show where the super cold oxygen is venting overboard. These propellants are relatively easy to work with and give us the performance we need. The first stage takes the Falcon 9 from a standing start to over 8,000 kilometers per hour. That's like a race car going from 0 to freeway speed in 2.2 seconds and then keeps accelerating at the same rate for 3 minutes. Currently, we cannot recover and reuse Falcon 9. Imagine what it would cost to air travel if the airplane was thrown away every flight. In Texas, as you see, we're testing Grasshopper, a test vehicle with a Falcon 9 first stage tank, a Merlin engine mounted on strong legs. We've recently started doing test hops and will soon expand the test envelope. This will help pave the way to a fully reusable Falcon vehicle that can land on the launch site. With a rapidly reflyable Falcon 9, we should really be able to lower the cost of getting to space. We have another question we'll talk about now. This one comes from Chris Marshall. And Jessica, I'll let you answer Chris' question, which is, will the crew version of Dragon use an automated docking system, or will it still require capture by the space station arm?
So that's a good question. And for crew missions, what we plan to do is have autonomous docking as the primary way to dock. And then there will be actually a manual way where the astronauts on board of Dragon will actually be able to manually dock with the space station if the autonomous plan doesn't work out or we want to do it a different way. What we don't want for crew missions is to have astronauts on the space station or other orbiting habits have to pull in Dragon. We want them to be able to do this on their own from the spacecraft that they are in. So yes, we'll be using autonomous docking as the primary method for docking for crew missions. And we're going to continue to use the robotic arm on the space station to pull us in for the Dragon cargo missions, as we're going to do for the mission today. So now, while we're talking about Dragon, let's go have an overview video with some other interesting facts about Dragon. So first, the rumor is true. Dragon was named after the fictional Puff the Magic Dragon after critics deemed SpaceX's plans fantastical. But as we've shown, Dragon is now very real. Dragon stands nearly 3 stories tall. When it's deployed, its solar panels span the width of a professional basketball court, which is 15 meters or 50 feet long. Dragon has 2 main portions, the unpressurized trunk section, which carries satellites and instruments headed for use in space, and the pressurized spacecraft capsule, which carries all the cargo and supplies destined for use inside the space station. During re-entry, Dragon is protected by a high-performance heat shield made of Pika X, which was developed in partnership with NASA Ames Research Center. This lightweight material withstands re-entry temperatures of over 1600 degrees Celsius or 3000 degrees Fahrenheit. Finally, Dragon has been designed from the start to carry up to 7 astronauts. We've already met numerous human rating requirements, and we have been testing the emergency escape engines. Within 3 years, we begin to plan to begin transporting passengers to the International Space Station and to other orbiting destinations. All right, so this isn't necessarily a Facebook question, or maybe it is. We got a lot of those, but I have a question for you, John.
Okay, go ahead.
So I want to know who is on the space station this time around. Who are the astronauts on board that are going to be using the robotic arm to grab Dragon and opening the hatch to go in and unload the cargo?
Well, and I have an answer for that one. Currently, Japanese astronaut Akihiko Hoshide and U.S. astronaut Sunita Williams, they'll be the ones operating the space station arm to capture Dragon and berth it to the station. They're shown here in this picture during their July 2010 training visit to SpaceX.
Now, of course, SpaceX is in this for the long run. Our next Falcon 9 vehicle is already at our Texas test site, and it's actually getting ready to ship there to the Cape. We send a lot of our stages, they go down to Texas, get tested there, and then they go to the Cape for launch. And the next Dragon that's getting ready to fly is actually in the clean room. Unfortunately, you guys can't see it. It's just over there, and that's getting ready also for launch. That will be ready for the CRS-2 mission, which is expected to occur later this year or in early 2013. Now, it looks like we still have a few minutes left, so I'll give you guys a little bit of extra information. I know one of the things people are always curious about is what types of things are we taking up to the space station and what are we bringing back? So as there are astronauts on board, we always want to bring essentials such as food, clothing, life support equipment, and batteries. That takes up some portion of it. And then this time, we actually have a cool thing. We're actually carrying up a glacier. That is a refrigerator and an ultra-cold freezer that holds samples down to minus, I think, 301 degrees Fahrenheit. We also have some fluids experiments coming on board. These are things that once they get onto the station, they investigate phase changes of liquids and how fluids move up surfaces in microgravity. The Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency is sending up hardware that will record educational videos of crew members demonstrating fundamental scientific principles. It's always really cool to see those things. If you guys ever get time, check out videos on YouTube of some of the experiments that astronauts do on board. Anyway, the European Space Agency is also sending up some biological experiments. Now, for re-entry, we're going to be bringing back a bunch of stuff home as well. We'll be bringing back biological experiments, seeing things of how there's currently experiments up there checking out crystal growth in microgravity. We'll be bringing back educational experiments, how plants grow, and more. Now, we're getting a little bit closer. I think it's time for another update, John. Can you tell us what's going on with the launch and how's the vehicle status?
Sure I can. I've been listening to Countdown.net. So far everything's going well. We're about 16 and a half minutes away from liftoff. Right now at the Cape Falcon 9, the kerosene fuel is loaded in both first and second stage. Liquid oxygen is loaded in both stages. They're at 100%. We've completed the flight termination system checks. Everything there is go. For on orbit, we have run the collision avoidance to make sure there's no objects in the vicinity of the flight path. There are no conflicts, so we'll go at the scheduled liftoff time. The range again reports that they are clear and ready to support. Weather continues to be clear and ready to support also. For the Falcon 9, we've also received balloon data. We check the upper altitude winds to see whether or not the vehicle can steer and survive the passage through the atmosphere. We've gotten the wind data back, and the winds aloft are good for both guidance and structural capability. so another good sign that it maybe the weather's cooperating tonight and we'll get a chance to launch. On the Dragon side in Mission Control Center, things are quiet. The next major event for Dragon is once it begins its terminal count inside of 10 minutes going on its internal power. We'll hear the terminal count in just several minutes. It'll get very busy then as the flight computer and the ground computers take over the automated processing and the countdown sequence. However, we always have the opportunity to interrupt the count manually if conditions arise. So right now, it looks like the Falcon 9 is in good shape. The Dragon's in good shape. The range is green, ready to support, and the weather's cooperating. Our next major activity is going to be the launch conductor's poll of the team. The SpaceX launch conductor will poll at about 13 minutes, so we'll listen to that coming up in about a minute and a half. We'll poll about 14 folks, make sure everybody's in readiness. Then we'll come back after the poll with a couple final announcements, and then we'll listen to terminal countdown. So right now, things are looking good on the pad. Got a nice view of the Falcon 9 and Dragon ready to go to space. So we'll wait here and listen for the launch conductor's poll and then come back to you.
Copy.
All stations verify ready for launch. All stations acknowledge. FTS.
FTS go.
Prop.
Props go.
AVI.
AVI go.
GNC.
GNC go.
Ground.
Ground go.
VC.
VCs go.
GC.
GC go.
DC.
DCs go.
RC.
RCs go.
OSM.
OSM go.
ROC.
Rocks go.
CE. Go. LD.
LD is go.
MD.
MDs go.
LD verify go to initiate terminal count.
LC, you are go to initiate terminal count.
Copy.
As you've heard, all stations have reported ready to the SpaceX launch conductor, and we are set to launch. Things are looking good right now, and we're going to watch the countdown as we enter terminal count at T-minus 10 minutes.
So as we mentioned earlier, this mission is the 4th flight of the Falcon 9 rocket and the 3rd operational Dragon spacecraft. Again, this is the first official CRS mission to the space station. Now, even though we are working to make space travel both more reliable and more accessible, that by no means lessens the challenge we face. But at this point, we believe that we have tested and prepared for everything possible.
But getting to space is always difficult. We've done everything possible to make today's launch a complete success. We've held our final reviews, done our final checks, and the team is ready to launch and fly Dragon.
So on the side there, you can see this is the view from the Falcon 9 second stage looking down. It's about 12 stories above the launch pad. It is an onboard rocket cam, and you'll be able to see this view from liftoff all the way to orbit.
Jessica, just a comment about our video signal today. On this mission, we have modified the video system. Recently in testing, we noticed there's the possibility we might lose the video signal for several seconds from time to time during flight. But rest assured, this is just the video system. Should not cause any concern. and our team will be trying to bring the video signal back as quickly as they can.
Now we're going to stop talking here and listen to the countdown net audio. That way you guys can all hear the launch and mission control engineers working through the final procedures and the terminal count to liftoff. So let's check it out and we'll be back.
Attention all personnel, stand by to pick up the count. T-minus 10 minutes and counting on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark. VC announce the auto sequence has started.
Dragon terminal count and terminal count launch have continued and started.
RCO, confirm clock is counting. RCO, confirm clock is counting. GCVC, stand by on FireX.
Standing by. Pre-valves are coming open.
OSM, verify launch and able to flight.
RCO. Switching to flight.
RCO.
Confirm clock is counting.
Confirm clock is counting. T-minus 9 minutes and 20 seconds on my mark. Mark.
Aux bleeds are open. We are now chilling in all 9 engines on first stage.
Good feedback on all pre-valves?
T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes.
Stage 1 fuel bleed is open. Vehicles in self-alignment.
T-minus 6 minutes.
Stage 2 TVC bleed has started.
T-minus 5 minutes.
GN2 load ended nominally. Stage 1 and Stage 2 internal auto sequences have started.
Stage 2 and Stage 1 are on internal power.
Vehicle release auto sequence has started.
T-minus 4 minutes.
Start of Stage 2 TVC wiggles.
Ground T-type system is setting up.
FTS is on internal power.
Stage 2 TVC motion complete.
Pre-valves are coming closed.
FTS is armed.
LOX load is ending nominally. Fuel trim valves are set to their flight positions.
Good feedback on fuel trim valves.
LD, verify go for launch.
Go for launch.
Stage 2 heaters is ended nominally.
Rock, verify range go. Rock, verify range go.
RC, standby. RC, this is Rock on Countdown Net. Range green.
Pre-valves are coming open. Helium load is ending nominally. Aux bleeds are open. One final engine chill for all 9 Merlin engines on first stage.
All pre-valves confirmed open.
Engine purge ISO is open.
First stage engines chilled in.
Flight computers in auto idle.
T-minus 1 minute.
Flight computers in startup.
The flight computers now in control of the vehicle.
First and second stages are pressing to their flight positions. Helium checkout is aborted nominally.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. T-minus 15. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff, Falcon 9. Falcon 9 has cleared the tower.
All starting pitch kick.
Full power.
Starting gravity turn.
JDMTA acquisition of signal.
We have a solid telemetry lock on stage 1 and stage 2.
First stage propellant utilization is active.
Vehicle is on a nominal trajectory at 5 kilometers in altitude, velocity of 230 meters per second, and downrange distance of 700 meters. Vehicle is supersonic. The vehicle has reached maximum aerodynamic pressure.
Second stage has started engine chill.
Dragon power systems are nominal.
Approaching MECO 1.
Past the min-MECO point.
First stage shutdown.
Stage separation confirmed.
MVAC ignition confirmed.
The Dragon nose gun has been jettisoned. Vehicle remains on a nominal trajectory. Vehicle altitude is 150 kilometers. Velocity is 3.1 kilometers per second, and downrange distance of 350 kilometers.
Second stage propellant utilization active.
Avionics systems nominal.
New Hampshire acquisition of signal.
The vehicle remains on a nominal trajectory. Altitude is 163 kilometers. Velocity is 3.5 kilometers per second. Downrange distance of 770 kilometers.
And vac and stage 2 propulsion systems healthy.
Avionics system and RF link is solid.
LC, this is OSM.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I've looked around the pad. It looks like the only place that we have even a small fire is on the deck. I recommend that when fire department gets there, they go ahead and do their sweep. Over.
Copy that. Pad secured. They can go on.
The vehicle remains on a nominal trajectory.
Roger,
Altitude
thanks.
is 186 kilometers. Velocity is 4 kilometers per second.
MVAC and stage 2 performance is good.
The vehicle remains at a nominal trajectory, altitude of 200 kilometers, and velocity of 4.9 kilometers per second.
LC, this is OSM. They're just about there. I recommend we go ahead and go in.
Vehicles passing through the head-on gate.
Propulsion systems nominal.
FTS has been saved.
Vehicle is in terminal guidance mode.
Avionics systems are nominal.
Nominal LOS from the Cape.
IIP lift.
And VAC shutdown confirmed.
Dragons in separation.
Proper is in prime.
Falcon 9 and Dragon are in orbit. Perigee 197 kilometers, apogee 328 kilometers.
All stations MD, we're on
Cameras
step
are facing
1.2 and 1.4 with nav1 and sys2.
Manifolds venting. ISO's open. Helium ISO's open.
Got a console alarm on software.
Dragon's in post prime. Priming complete.
Nominal
Select
AOS
to deploy
Newfoundland.
attitude.
Flight software, you good on this software global?
Yeah, looking into it.
I'm acknowledging.
Thruster firing's confirmed. Prop system nominal. Dragon's in array deploy attitude. Slew looked good.
Nominal LOS Wallops.
Dragon's in array deploy state.
That's expected, MD.
Copy.
Dragon's in array deploy.
Array deploy.
All stations MD, we're on 1.10. Nice work.
As expected, Dragon has now passed beyond the viewable range of the Newfoundland, Canada ground station. SpaceX Mission Control here in Hawthorne will continue to communicate with Dragon as it circles the globe.
Yay, and as always, we're super excited. We had a great launch today. This is the 4th successful flight of the Falcon 9 rocket and our 3rd operational Dragon spacecraft put into orbit. Let's see, Dragon is going to spend the next about 3 days catching up with the International Space Station. So it plans to arrive there Wednesday, October 10th around 2 a.m. Pacific time, 5 a.m. Eastern time. So, oh yes, and happy birthday, John! It's always good. Yes, a successful launch is the best birthday present.
A great candle.
Yes, yes, exactly. So be sure to stay tuned to our Facebook and Twitter pages and SpaceX.com, and you can follow Dragon's entire mission from now until it actually attaches to the space station. And you can see a ton of live footage also on our pages and NASA of the astronauts inside the space station unloading cargo. There'll be lots of cool stuff to watch over the next few weeks.
And here at SpaceX, we want to extend our special thanks to NASA for their partnership and support on the CRS program.
Yes, and on behalf of the over 1,800 people here at SpaceX, we thank you so much for tuning in. And yes, we look forward to a great rest of the mission. So thank you all again, and bye-bye.